ELD's Time Vault Games from Bellingham, Mass. And with your help, we can reach 2,500 subscribers. As a thank you, I'll be giving out a custom leather playmat to one lucky subscriber when we get there. So be sure to like and subscribe. Welcome to Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Mass. We have the top 8 of our December 7th ELD Legacy Open. Nick leading out with a Ponder, playing Bug Delver versus Rodney on Dreadstill. He leads with a Volcanic Island and says go. Didn't actually notice him draw a card there. Him to Torok, a powerful turn 2 play. Bug Delver happy to trade 2 for 1 or 1 for 1. Make it a war of attrition and then just win with whatever it has left over. Very often a card that can take advantage of those previous wars, like Tarmogoyf. A Daze against this Brainstorm. And Rodney is losing not only the Brainstorm to the Daze, but now 2 cards to the Him to Torok, left with just 3 in hand. Force of Will, one of those cards, along with a potentially key mana source in Mishra's Factory. He's got a second. And a Standstill. And that card could give him some breathing room, or the cards right back. They go right back into his hand. Tarmogoyf lands, or does it? He has Force of Will. He'll cash those cards back out, clearing the Goyf. And Rodney's back in it thanks to that Standstill. Those 3 cards, absolutely huge. Wasteland takes out the Bayou. Nick ponders. Draws and plays a Tropical Island. Got a Wasteland from Rodney. And Brainstorm in response to Nick's Brainstorm. Don't actually like that line. That gives Nick's the ability to daze and preserve his land. Got to be very wary of playing spells when you have effects on the stack. Thoughtseize is a complete brick. Rodney shows a handful of lands. One of them is a Mishra's Factory. Fetch being sacrificed for a basic island. Is he drawn like a True Name Nemesis or something? Scroll of Fate. What is this? Oh, a Standstill, which is going to get Force of Will. It's doing his job either way. It's all about card advantage. Getting 2 Force of Wills out of your opponent's hand. Not bad at all. A Delver of Secrets now in a Factory, presenting a potential 5 damage a turn clock. Delver flips, showing a Daze, which is actually a pretty damaging card when your opponent only has 1 mana. Brainstorm flips the Delver. It's being fired off. Of course, Dazed goes to the graveyard. And now Rodney has a decision to make. He stands up the Factory and swings. He's looking to force Nick to eventually block the Factory. Wasteland makes short work of the colorless land. Rodney's mana base, though, 3 times what Nick has to play with. He can cast any of his spells, offers a trade, and gets it. Both Delvers going to the graveyard. Wasteland from Nick, totally fine for Rodney. A moment ago he had just 3 lands in hand. Rodney very happy to see Wasteland being used against him here. Nick now finds a Polluted Delta, can potentially start casting some threats. 3 fetch lands on board. A Brainstorm plus fetch. He's going to optimize Nick's hand. It looks like we've got Goyf and a land. We're likely to see this creature deployed right now. Potentially turn the tide back in Nick's favor. What a back and forth game this has been. Him to Torok, resolving, destroying Rodney's hand, stands still, pulling him back into the game. War of attrition down the stretch here, and now a Goyf attempting to resolve. Nick down to 7 life of Rodney with no more clock. Daze taking out that Goyf, proving to just be so punishing. This Goyf does resolve, as Nick has a mana open, even if Rodney did have another Daze. 5 mana on board. Hardcast Force of Will territory, but Nick doesn't necessarily need to play another spell this game. He's just cracking away with this Tarmogoyf. Rude going to need some type of answer. Scroll of Fate. And this seems totally fine here for Rodney if it resolves. Any one of these cards could be a Dreadnought, or it could just be a 2/2. Just turn his lands into infinite chump blockers. Creature manifested from Rodney's hand. Another Scroll of Fate. Now Nick down to 5. Very tense game state here. Rodney has 6 life to play with. A Brainstorm for Nick. He's got some cards in hand. He can make a couple more 2/2s. Let's see what Nick has. These scrolls will eventually overwhelm Nick. If he swings here, he's dead. So he's got to pass the turn. 2 more cards enter the battlefield. And Rodney's thinking this through. He swings with 2, maybe 3. He's going to swing all out. One of these is going to get destroyed. Technically, these should have counters on them to show which ones are which. Stifle. And now Goyf swinging. Scroll of Fates. Going to put in a chump blocker. Abrupt Decay is going to target it. Is this going to be lethal? Instant sorcery. Creature. Artifact. Land. I think that's just 5. Instant sorcery. Artifact. Creature. Land. I don't think we saw planeswalkers or enchantments. So there we go. Nick dead on the crackback. Rodney picking up game number 1. Let me know if I miscounted the Goyf's power and toughness there. I'm pretty sure it was just instant sorcery, artifact, creature, and land. I don't believe we saw planeswalkers or enchantments. Certainly not tribal. But Rodney picking up game number 1 in a very difficult matchup for Dreadstill and Bug Delver. And now Nick leading out with a turn 1 Delver, an ideal start for his deck. If he can protect this, it flips via Force of Will. So that's good news. Volcanic Island being fetched up for Rude. And a Lightning Bolt actually setting Nick back now. Force of Will drawn for turn. And a Tarmogoyf comes down. Lightning Bolt no longer able to clear a Goyf. It'll be a 3/4. We've got land instant and creature in the graveyard. Already out of burn range. Dismember. Is that Dismember? Yeah, that's Dismember. Dismember clears the Goyf. So back-to-back threats here for Nick, batted away by Rodney's removal. A third threat, this time another Tarmogoyf. We'll see if Rude has any answer to this. Engineered explosives at 2. able to get in for 2 damage. Or for 3 damage. Delver of Secrets is added to the board. Rude has a Delver of his own, but his life total far lower. Abrupt Decay, a brutal draw here. Flips the Delver. It will be an answer to Rude's Delver as well. Coming in for 3 damage in the air after this Explosives clears away the Goyf. Rude's life total dwindling, no pressure at all for Nick. Standstill is revealed. Terrible in this situation. Really only good when you are neutral, kind of in an even position, or if you're ahead. Card does absolutely nothing if you're behind. If he were to play it, his Delver would be Abrupt Decayed in response, and Nick's Delver would just cross the finish line unimpeded. Perhaps Rodney breaking his own Standstill. Really a terrible situation here. Delver flips. Nick showing some discipline, holding on to the Abrupt Decay. It does prevent a potential runaway game with a Dreadnought, for example. If Rodney did have a Stifled Dreadnought, he could pull himself back into this game if he had enough time. But time is the thing that is running out for him, as it looks like we're going to be headed into game number 3. Dreadnought, Stifle. Can't send for 3 here. Oh, and he's got all the answers. Fatal Push, that feels awful. Whew. Force of Will pitching Standstill. Force of Will back pitching a Force of Will. And the Delver is out of there. 3 more damage in the air. Rude down to just 1 point of life left. And packing it up for game number 3. Could have swung. Probably would have just forced the Abrupt Decay. I don't believe Nick would have ended up taking the hit, as additional pieces of burn could have potentially killed him. I guess we'd have to take a look at the life totals. But either way, we're on to game number 3. This time, Rude's going to be on the play. We'll see if he can have one of those explosive Dreadstill draws, or will Bug's consistency continue to cause problems for this combo build of Delver. Alright, here we go with game number 3. Delver of Secrets. Turn 1 for Rodney. Off to a good start. Nick also with a turn 1 Delver. Not flipping for Rodney. That's one of the things with these what would you say? Kind of the outside of the mainstream Delver builds. Very often they end up cutting instants and sorceries, and their Delvers are not quite as good as the mainstream build. Blue-red Delver certainly has plenty of instants and sorceries. Bug does actually need it lacks a few, but it does have enough to consistently flip. Certainly more than Standstill and Scroll of Fate will allow. Ponder and Dismember is going to clear out this Delver of Secrets while Nick is tapped out. This is game number 3. Top 8 of the ELD Legacy Open that took place December 7th. The winner of this tournament will get that leather playmat. And you have a chance to win a leather playmat like that by helping us get to 2,500 subscribers. The channel has grown a lot over the last year, and we are now incentivizing people to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We will say thank you by giving one lucky subscriber a custom leather playmat the design of their choosing. Thoughtseize coming in for Nick against Rodney's hand. This could be a wrecking ball. He sees a couple of Force-O-Wills. There's also a Dreadnought. And he's going to force. Thoughtseize doing its job. Still plenty of turns to go. With a Delver of Secrets as a clock. And this may end up being a pivotal play in the game and therefore the match. If that Thoughtseize is going to end up being worth Force of Willing over. Standstill. 3 damage. And that gives us a pretty quick answer. That Standstill landing. Nick went up a card with that Force of Will play. However, now he's facing down a Standstill, 5 damage a turn. And in order to get out of the situation, he's going to need to let Rodney draw 3, which is exactly what happens. He abrupt decays the Delver of Secrets. Rodney draws 3 cards. No follow-up Standstill, however. Wasteland for Nick. That is very good versus this Factory. I'll be surprised if it's not fired off on Nick's turn. Volcanic Island for Rodney. Now he's facing down a Goyf. Engineered Explosive shows up, but Abrupt Decay gets it out of there, growing the Goyf. This is very quickly favoring Nick. He's got a threat. He's got a couple of cards in hand. He can cast just about anything that comes off the top of his deck here with this 2 mana. Hymn to Torok, notably, would need double black. Of course, he's got some 3-drops in there as well, but Delvers, Goyfs, Cantrips, and that is going to do it. Rodney extending the hand as Tarmogoyf proves enough to get there in game number 3. That is all for this one, but don't worry, there is a lot more. You can check out our older videos, and we're always putting out new videos from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Massachusetts. If you want to help the channel, of course, you can like, subscribe, share, tap that notification bell so you can know the next time our new videos come out. Thanks for watching.